Today we're taking a look at our Olympus OM to Sony E-mount DLX Stretch lens adapter. This is a lens adapter with a built-in macro helicoid, which means not only does it adapt vintage Olympus OM lenses to your mirrorless Sony E-mount cameras, it also has a built-in helicoid. You rotate this black ring here, and it extends the adapted lens 10 millimeters farther away from your Sony E-mount camera. And when we extend the lens farther away from the camera, it gives the lens macro focusing capabilities. So basically, this DLX Stretch adapter turns any Olympus OM adapted lens into a macro focusing lens. Now, as you can see, this is an all metal adapter. It has a really nice professional finish, so it'll fit right in with your professional Sony E-mount gear. This is the front where you mount the lens. Here's the back right here. And this is a place to put drop-in magnetic ND filters, which we'll talk about at the end of the video. And like I said, it's got the built-in macro helicoid. You just rotate this to extend the mount 10 millimeters farther away. Now, how exactly do lens adapters work? How am I able to use this vintage Olympus lens on this modern Sony camera? And it all comes down to focal flange distance. This lens is designed to focus to infinity when it is about this far away from its camera sensor or film plane. Now, the problem is if we tried to mount this lens directly to this mirrorless camera, we would be getting the optic too close to the sensor and it would not be able to focus to infinity. Everything would be out of focus. So to get this lens to focus correctly on this mirrorless camera, we need some space between the lens and camera, and that is where our lens adapters come in. By putting this extra space, we're able to get the lens to focus to infinity, and we're also able to put in special features like our macro focusing helicoid. Here's how to mount an Olympus OM lens on this adapter. You're just going to line up the red mounting dot on the lens with the red mounting dot on the adapter, press the lens into the adapter, and rotate it to lock it into place. And to remove an Olympus OM lens, there actually is no button on the adapter because these lenses were designed with the release button built into the lens itself. You're actually going to find two silver buttons on the lens. There's one here and one here. You're going to press them both down at the same time, and that unlocks the lens from the adapter. And here's how to mount the adapter on the camera. You just treat it like a normal Sony E-mount lens. Line up the red mounting dot on the adapter with the white mounting dot on this Sony. Press the adapter into the camera and rotate it to lock it into place. There we go. Now we have this beautiful vintage Olympus OM lens adapted to our modern Sony E-mount mirrorless camera. And like I said, we've got the built-in macro helicoid, which allows us to focus this lens much closer up than it was normally designed to focus. Now, this is a fully manual adapter. There's no electronic communication between the lens and camera, which means you have to focus the lens manually. You have to change the aperture manually, which means you won't be able to use an auto mode. You'll either have to use the manual mode or use the aperture or shutter priority mode. You're not going to have any control of the lens. You will have to control the lens manually. Now, if you leave the adapter like this, it just works like any adapter. You can focus to infinity, you can focus close up, adjust the aperture. Everything works just like a normal manual lens. But if you want to add macro focus to this lens, you're going to actually rotate this black ring on the DLX Stretch. That's going to extend the adapted lens up to 10 millimeters away from the sensor of this camera. And then we're also going to want to set the lens to its minimum focus as well, 1 foot. So this lens does not have a very great minimum focus, but by adding the extra 10 millimeters with this macro helicoid, we're able to make this lens focus much closer than 1 foot. Here are some photos showing before and after. In the first photo, you see how close this lens could focus by itself. In the second photo, you see how close it can focus when the DLX Stretch is fully engaged to 10 millimeters of extension. Now, Now, to figure out exactly how much more minimum focus you will achieve with the 10 millimeters of this adapter, you do have to use a slight mathematical formula. And because I'm not that great at math, I like to use this online calculator. You just have to enter in the lens's information, then add the 10 millimeters of macro extension, and it'll give you the new minimum focus of an adapted lens. Now, not only does the DLX Stretch have a built-in macro helicoid, it also has drop-in magnetic ND filters. We've got an ND4, an ND8, and an ND16 filter. They come in this nice carrying case, and they drop in super easy. You just take them, pop them in the back, drop them in, and they magnet right in place, and the adapter holds them firmly in place. Now, to remove a drop-in ND filter, I recommend using a lens cloth so you don't smudge the filter. You're just going to press the ND filter out like that. And having drop-in ND filters that mount behind the lens is actually a really useful thing to have, especially if you're using multiple Olympus OM lenses. Let's say you've got one mounted, you switch it out with another. You got a 28 mil, but then you switch to a 50 or a 100. If you were using 3 different lenses and you were putting the ND filters on the front, you would have to get a separate ND filter for each lens, or use some sort of step-up ring to switch between them, especially if the lenses have different front filter threads. But by having the ND filtration behind where the adapted lens goes, that VND filter is just right in there. Now you can swap out the lenses at will and the ND stays in place. The other nice thing is these filters help protect the sensor of your camera. As you can see, the ND filter is protecting the sensor of the Sony. So if I am switching out lenses on a set, if I'm outside and there's some dust blowing around, that ND filter is going to protect the sensor. So it's kind of nice to have that as well. VND filtration is excellent if you are shooting video, especially, shallow focus, if you're shooting shallow depth of field and it's super bright out. Having that ND filtration built in is a great way to cut the light for beautiful cinematic footage. Okay, that was a quick look at our Olympus OM to Sony E DLX Stretch lens adapter. If you'd like to learn more about this adapter, click the link in the description below. It'll take you to a web page where you can purchase one for yourself. And we don't just carry DLX Stretch adapters for this lens camera combo, the Olympus OM to Sony E. We carry them for a whole range of different types of lenses and different types of camera mounts. So if you are looking for another type of DLX Stretch adapter, odds are we've got it, and click the links in the description below to check out our entire line of DLX Stretch. Now, if you have a specific lens camera combo you're looking for, instead of going and searching around our website, you can also just comment below and I will help you find the adapter that you need. Also, comment below if you have any other questions about anything I said in this video. I'd love to help you out. Also, click right here to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more videos just like this one.